Yes, I know this review is late. My bad. Beyond the Gates, episode 24, 7 out of 10. It was an okay episode. So, yeah, it's a late review, but I'm here now. That's what's important, okay? Let's get into it. So, Ted is, kissing up on Nicole as she's on the phone, talking with one of the donors, to, I believe, the upcoming fundraiser. And in the midst of their lovey-doveyness, you have Eva who walks in. It's like, oh, sorry, I'll come back later. But she's actually given a small task. It's like, hey, could you do some welcome packets for the donors of the event coming up? And from there, they step out. Kat's at her desk, and then that's when Eva is confronted by Kat about fessing up to, not only did I catch you on the camera I had, but you deleted the footage. Now, to be fair, it's obvious Kat knows Eva did it, but she didn't know Eva was still at the house. But then again, I guess that perhaps she put two and two together. It's like, yeah, well, I saw her ass on the camera and I got there and the footage was gone when I checked my phone. So she must have, did something to the camera. She must have done something to the camera to erase the footage. And, but, Eva claps back. Now, I like the back and forth between these two because as the show goes on, we're seeing more of Eva in terms of how she's been yes, she is an active participant in her mom's schemes. However, we know that she has a level of morality that Leslie doesn't, because she would not approve of Leslie running Laura off the road. Remember that she thought that her mom did it, but then she got gaslit into thinking, oh, my mom would never do it. But I think if she ever found out what her mom did to Laura, she would immediately change sides. But when it comes to Kat, we know she's right about Eva. But at the same time, her approach has been completely wrong. Now, Eva claps back and saying, look, I'm tired of trying to prove myself to you. If you got anything on me, then basically, hey, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. If you want to do something, let's go. And she literally hits Kat where it hurts, saying like, you know what? The more you try to, I don't know, expose me for being something that I'm not, or make me feel like I don't belong, you're just making yourself look worse. So basically, you're pathetic. That's essentially what it boils down to. When you could tell what she said cut Kat pretty deep. So that was that was crazy. It really was crazy. Now, from there, Danny arrives at the hospital and she, chats with Ashley for a bit. I think this is the first time we've seen these two interacting. And, it's like, oh, just asking about how her job at the hospital is going. And I think it's kind of funny how Danny asked, like, I always imagine being a nurse, like, would be like those, shows on TV where it's like, the hot doctors and this, that, and third. And basically the hospital being an orgy. Now, in the midst of their conversation, Andre gets off the elevator and then both women look at him. And I think that's hilarious when you think about it. You got the one, girl that he has these feelings for, but she's, rejected his kiss. And then you have the woman who he's been banging on the side. But keep in mind that he and Danny haven't really been messing around like that lately, at least not on screen. The last couple of times he's gone over to her place, it's been for like emotional support. So he, avoids conversation with Ashley, but he and Danny get into just a brief chat. And then Ashley's on the side, talking to Naomi over the phone. She's at the diner. Now, from there, she's at, and I love how when Naomi learns that her mom's at the hospital, she's like, well, how is she? I like that. It was like a daughter just checking in to make sure her mom's okay. But she puts two and two together, like, oh yeah, she's probably just there to meet with my aunt, so they're probably just having a conversation in her office later on. And then talks about the whole situation with Andre and how, oh, well, I don't know, maybe his ego's bruised and that's why he's not interacting with you. Well, yeah, it's a shame. I shouldn't have to lose my friend over it because, yeah, I didn't let him kiss me because I'm in a relationship. Now, what's interesting is that when Ashley walks around the corner, Andre's looking at her, and Danny's like, "What's wrong? Huh? What?" It's like you're here standing in front of me, but your mind is elsewhere. Oh no, it's just that I was thinking about like how hard it is standing here and being with you, but not being able to be with you. I mean, have you looked at yourself today? Good answer. So basically, Nicole comes and takes Danny to her office and they chat a bit. And like a good sister, she just wants to be there for her little sister. But, I like how we're getting a lot of follow up with the different characters trying to just check in with Danny, see if she's okay and whatnot. And essentially, Danny's like, look, I'm moving on from Bill and Haley and all that nonsense. And I'm proud of Chelsea for moving on from modeling. But I was her momager before. And look, I have a lot of knowledge and whatnot I can offer now. And Danny's like, but don't you think that Chelsea quit modeling so she can do her own thing? Keep in mind, like, mom and dad didn't really like it when you went into modeling, but you did it on your own. So this could be her chance to do her own thing as well. No, well, I want to pour all my energy into it. So basically she's trying to, readjust her energy from being momager to a model to momager with the purse line, even though she wasn't asked to help whatsoever. So Nicole, she clearly knows that something's wrong. It's like, look, this is not going to go the way you think. So then we go over to, let's see here. Diner, Joey. Oh yeah. So we're over at the law firm. And Tomas, he pretty much reassures Bill that, look, no matter what goes down with this lawsuit and whatnot, just know I got your back and I'll do whatever I can to help protect the firm. So it turns out that there was a meeting that was supposed to go down, and this is where the episode lost points for me. And this isn't just an unpopular opinion, because everybody on Twitter on Monday felt the same way. So the three women who are pursuing this lawsuit with Naomi, they're in the waiting room area because apparently there was supposed to be a meeting between both counsel sides and whatnot. So they're out in the lobby waiting on Naomi, but Bill invites him back to his office to talk. These three, now, at first, I assumed that they were all attorneys. I know that Bill eventually reveals, like, oh, yeah, you started off in the mailroom and then you worked your way up to the library and everything. So I'm like, so is she not an attorney? But either way, what's her name? Stephania Stephanie. She talked about how she was like at her top of her class and whatnot, and nothing she's ever done in her life has been subpar. So I think she was the one who was like, yeah, we shouldn't be in here without lawyers. So our counsel. So essentially, Bill kind of did a shakedown. He literally pulled them into his office, and at first is being cordial, like, oh, hey, how's everybody doing? Let's see if we can get this misunderstanding sorted out. And let me give you a play-by-play of how things are going to go if this gets taken to court. So he low-key threatens them in terms of, hey, if you go to court against me, number one, you're going to lose. Number two, I'm going to F up your futures. All the tabloid junkets and whatnot, I got those people in my pocket. All I got to do is make a phone call and your reputations are going to be destroyed. You will you sound like Denzel and Training Day. You will never work in this town again. Oh yeah, okay. You want to sue me? You want to mess up my money? Oh, I got something for you. So let's take it to court. We take it to court. Next thing you know, not only I'm going to win, but I'm going to mess up your entire futures. So what you can do now is you could settle out of court and we could just let this go bye-bye, or we could take it to court. You're going to lose, and you're not going to get a thin dime from me, this firm, and you'll never work again in law. So he basically starts off kind by asking, like, hey, this firm has been here for you for everything. Like, hey, when it comes to your life, when it comes to you going through law school and graduating, you had a lot of people supporting you. And oh yeah, what about the time I gave you off in order to help out your mother? How's she doing, by the way? And then it kind of turns to, oh yeah, you worked at the mail room, and then you worked your way up to the library. So remember when you sent some emails or chats to another employee about this one guy. Oh, yeah. Well, it turns out he was a client. Excuse me? Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, well, he's a client. So basically, long story short, Bill's like, yeah, I'm privy to everything, that goes on in this firm in terms of like the emails and stuff like that. So essentially, he did his homework. And basically, he said, look, I got some dirt on you that I could use to make it look like you invited this kind of inappropriate behavior from Mike. And if I bring this into court, it will bury you. So yet again, we can settle this out of court, or we can take it to the court and it's going to get really ugly. So in the midst of this, I think Stephanie, she gets on her phone and texts Naomi that, hey, we're at this meeting. It's getting ugly. Get here now. So Naomi rushes off the phone with Ashley, and then she gets over to the office. And she says, look, hey, no, this meeting is over. No. So she was given the wrong time for this meeting. So Bill thinks he's slick. So Naomi tells everybody to leave. And she claps back at her dad for trying his underhanded tactics by not only trying to get these women to settle, but intimidation. And I just love how Naomi does not take no mess. I love it. It's just great. So Bill thinks that everything is all well and good. But sadly, we learned something. Well, we learned something a bit tragic. So let's take a quick trip over to the diner. Now, Joey and Vanessa are there, and they're chatting about houses. And look, let's be real. The chemistry between these two is wild, and it would not surprise me at some point if they do the do. Now, at one point, it's like, oh, I bet Doug is going to get in the hole so deep with Joey that a way to knock off a few bucks would be for him to bang his wife or something like that. Because a lot of people are theorizing, and I agree, there is a good chance Joey's mom is long gone from this world, and he just made up a cover story to explain why he started interacting with Vanessa to look for a home for his mom. But look, we know Vanessa gets around while her husband's getting down at the casinos and whatnot. And we learn a little bit about her in terms of how she started in this field of selling houses. The fact that, I came from a family, it was a tough, upbringing. Basically, I grew up in an environment where it wasn't expected much of me to do much of anything. Then I eventually met Doug. I think the synopsis for their characters said they're like high school sweethearts. They got married and whatnot. And I guess because of Doug's renowned career, he started working, behind the gates, and they're twins. They had twins. They went to school, good school behind the gates. So essentially, whenever Vanessa would drive the kids to different academic or school activities and whatnot, she was enamored by the homes, and she just wanted to learn more about these properties. And that's how she got inspired to start her career, and look at her now. So it was cool to learn a little more about her backstory. And the way her face lights up whenever Joey's around, when's the last time you saw that look with Doug? That's all I'm saying. So all I'm saying is, like, you're married, and you obviously have this thing for Joey, but let's not forget Diego is waiting in the wings. So yikes. So in the midst of their flirtation, Tomas actually comes to the diner, and Kat's there too. And, after the whole getting chewed out by Eva, Kat's in her feelings. So she's just, excited to have a friendly face. But sadly, this isn't going the way she, thought it would be going, because Tomas asked her to talk to her cousin Naomi to drop the case against the firm. And she's like, hell no. And obviously, this leads to Tomas being stood up, because she leaves, and then Naomi comes in the diner with the three women, and Tomas kind of pulls her to the side to say, hey, look, can you drop this suit, because this is awful. I mean, if the firm goes down, then like his career is kaput, and everybody who works at the firm. And Naomi just quickly shuts him up, and then he leaves dejected. So, man, Naomi, look, she did not come to play in this episode. She did not come to play. Now, speaking of Kat, though, she goes home, and she's like in her, she feels defeated. Eva stood up to her. Tomas showed his true colors, and now she's feeling just alone. So she has I ain't gonna lie. When she visualized Tomas at the house, just apologizing to her and whatnot, I I was going to laugh so hard because I was waiting for the moment that Eva would just walk into the room. Like, what are you doing? I thought that was going to happen. I thought it was going to happen. But no, yeah, Tomas is, sorry. And then it's like, yeah, I know we're both business driven and whatnot. Yeah, I know, but I shouldn't have put that kind of pressure on you because, I put my own job above, this thing we have going. So do you forgive me? I forgive you. And then he's like, well, just say yes. And then that's when she gets a text message. Hey, I'm sorry for what I did. Do you forgive me? And she types yes in all caps. So, interesting. Now, going back to the diner real quick, the women tell Naomi that they want to drop the case because what Bill said was extremely intimidating to them. So we go over to the other side of the diner, and when Vanessa and Joey are chatting it up, Randy comes in, and what's funny is like, oh, hey, it's Joey. He's like, okay. The missus of Doug, hey, how are you doing? Oh, yes, well, I was just talking to Joey because he's trying to get a home for his mother. And then Joey looks at Randy. He's like, well, yeah, there's one thing Joey does is take care of his mom. Yep, So then they leave for some business. And Vanessa, like I said, her face, I like what they're doing here. Because with Joey being Joey, you would just expect him to smash and run. But I love that they're stretching this out to make it where these two are going to knock boots at some point. But the fact that it's being drawn out where Vanessa looks like every time they're about to cross the line. I think at one moment, his hand was touching hers or something like that, and her face just lit up. Yeah, I love how they're stretching this out because Vanessa, you could tell usually when she wants something, she goes after it. But Joey is like his reputation precedes him, but she didn't expect him to be such a charmer. So that's what I like to see here. So aside from that, dang. Okay, we're almost done. We go over to the hospital again, and Ted is talking with Andre, and he's like, yeah, well, nephew, I'm usually used to you just blowing in and out of town like a swift breeze, but you plan on staying around for a little bit? I don't know. I mean, but then it turns out Andre is asked by Ted, it's like, well, the hospital loved the documentary you did for Nicole and the award ceremony, and there are a few other kind of documentaries we'd love for you to do. So would you like to, I know we can't pay as much as your other big time jobs around the world, but it would be nice to have you home. So Andre agrees to stay, and he tells Nicole about it and Danny. So it's like, it's funny how tongue-in-cheek the conversation is in Nicole's office because Andre's like, yeah, it's like, it's funny because I never expected things to, pop up to keep me around. So Danny obviously thinking that Andre's talking about her when in tune we know it's about Ashley. Somebody online said this and it made me crack up. So Nicole is supposed to be this, renowned, accomplished psychiatrist, but for one, she couldn't tell her sister is spiraling out of control. Well, obviously, Nicole did. She's been worried since the early episodes, but we're talking more like, when Danny would smile in people's faces and seem like her energy's up, but as soon as she gets home, she falls apart. And then on top of that, you don't know that your sister has been getting it on with your almost nephew. Like, for real though, like you don't really see that. So I thought that was hilarious. So from there, you have Nicole talking with Andre about like his real intentions for staying, and it's like, no, it's not about Ashley. No. Because funny enough, you have Shanice, or actually Ted, right? Ted goes up to Ashley. He's like, hey, how's everything going? Like, have you been, assigned an appointment for the documentary? Oh, no, Andre hasn't talked to me yet. So, oh, yeah, don't worry. I'm sure you're going to be a great part of this documentary. And from there, Ashley feels, some kind of way because she's not expecting to be in it because, again, he's been bouncing around talking to everybody but her. Now, because all the new nurses have been given appointments except for her. So that's pretty wild. So when Andre is talking with Kat, Nicole, and Ted about, what's next. So they're all about to leave. That's when Ashley comes up and it's like, hey, can we talk? Actually, yeah, I can. I'm actually, I'm working on something. And she's like, please. And Ted's face killed me. I know Kat was looking like, oh, but Ted smiled. I was laughing my ass off. And Ted's like, oh, yeah, so we got to go do a thing, right, family? We'll talk to you later. So that's when Ashley pulls Andre to the side to ask, like, why are you avoiding me? And then that face Andre makes is priceless. And I watched episode 25 already, so I love the follow to this discussion, but I feel bad because Ashley has every right to feel like this because she didn't ask to be almost kissed and she's missing out on her friend, but we know that something's there. But look, I'm not rooting for these two to become a couple because I don't think they're a good fit. I think Andre is looking to conquer rather than to commit. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I think Andre is looking to conquer rather than commit. I got to use that. But yeah, Ashley, you got your firefighter. Look, he's boring. Everybody's saying Derek is a wholesome man who is there for his woman. And it's better to have a committed relationship with a good guy than to be in a relationship with a passerby, someone who's just going to rock your world, but then like go on to the next one. So she better stay with that fireman. That's all I'm saying. Now, from there, Bill is just extremely cocky because he's under the impression that the seeds he planted into the three women is enough to make them quit their lawsuit. So he's not worried. Tomas is rightfully worried. He's like, well, look, you got the sword of Damocles over your head, but it's like you don't have a care in the world. Oh, no. It's like a marshmallow. Everything is good. That case is going to be dropped, and we're going to be fine. Don't even worry about it. So the last thing to talk about, and I will admit, because I think I said something like this either on Twitter or in a previous review. So Kat and Chelsea are talking about their purse line. Like Kat is still feeling upset about what happened with Tomas, and Chelsea's like, see, this is why I feel so bad. I'm glad, like, this is why you gotta be careful about feeling like you need to give it up to keep a man, especially when he shows you his true colors. So yeah, that Tomas is no good. And it's like, that's just my dad in general. Like his negative influence, impacts those around him because I thought he was one of the good ones. That's when Danny comes in. It's like, are we talking about Bill? I third that. So then she kind of takes over the show by, just saying, oh, these purses remind me of the stuff you used to wear when you were 8. So yeah, she went into momager mode. Now, by the end of the episode, because Kat bounces like, oh, I gotta go, Chelsea tells her mom to just back off because it's like, look, this is my thing, not yours. But before this, Danny, and I agree with Danny here. Danny is pleading with Chelsea to do one last gig, this fundraiser event, and use that as a way to promote the purse line. Kat's in agreement, and I am too. Instead of just quitting modeling on a whim, which honestly, I feel for Chelsea, and I can completely understand why she delayed this for as long as she did, but her timing was off. Like, you waited until after your mom secured you this 3-year deal and whatnot, and this, what was it? She secured, what was it, the Smithsonian? There was some museum, it was a dress that, isn't meant to be worn by anybody except for the original wearer, but she used her, connections and pull to get the dress made available for Chelsea. Why not use this event to promote the line? Like, this is a fundraiser. It's for a good cause. That's the first thing. Secondly, why not use this opportunity to advertise your last show, meaning that with your huge following, you're going to get a huge turnout. And while you're in the spotlight, use this opportunity to promote your upcoming purse line. It's a win-win-win for everyone. But she doesn't want to do it. Okay. And that's the episode. So, folks, let me just double check here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, like I said, the reason I'm docking this episode points is because these 3 women should have been far more intelligent about not going to see Bill or going to his office without Naomi present, because that underhanded stuff where Naomi was given the wrong time, that is just petty enough to be Bill. That's hilarious though. But for them to go into that office and then engage in conversation, because Naomi's like, look, I need you all to tell me everything that you talked about with my father. Like this, no, this is not going to fly. So Naomi she was on the prowl in this episode, and I loved it. She was taking no prisoners. It was awesome. But yeah, overall, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.